Hello and welcome to day 25 of A Story a Day for 26 days. So there is only one more after this. I want to thank you all for listening and watching. I hope you're enjoying the stories. So this evening we go back. I won't ask you to cast your mind back because none of us can cast our minds back this far. I'm talking about the beginning, the period that in Australia is known as the dream time. And in this time, there was a young man and there was a young woman. And as is the way of these things, when they met, they couldn't help but fall in love. And as is fairly usual in these stories, there was an obstacle to their being together, for she was promised to the man of magic. Now this was not a promise to break lightly, but the young couple was so much in love they couldn't conceive of not being together, and so they ran away. They crossed the desert, and finally they settled down to make their home with his tribe. They had a son, a beautiful boy. And the young woman, she would entertain the tribe. She would sing. She had such a beautiful voice. And the spirit would bring their song to life through her. One song told how their young son was going to be a beautiful, eternal being living in the desert. And another song told of a warning of bad things coming. But the husband, he chose to ignore the warning song. They were fine where they were. The magic man, he would not be able to find them, and they would keep living and all would be well. Well, you've guessed it. Unfortunately, the magic man, he cast his magic. He gathered his powers and he saw where the young couple were living. And he gathered his followers, his men. And they trekked across the desert and they tracked the young couple down to that village. And there they laid about with their spears and their clubs, and they didn't stop until every single person in that village was dead. A year later, the magic man came back again with his followers. He wanted to dance on the bones of the young couple and their baby boy. But there were no bones. There was just a bed of the most beautiful red flowers. This spooked his followers and they fled. They ran out of there as fast as they possibly could and they did not look back. But the magic man, he stood looking over this bed of flowers and he shook his spear in the air and he danced his dance of joy and glee at what he had brought about. But suddenly the clouds parted and the voice of the Great Spirit came down through the cloud and told him that he had done such a wrong thing and now he would be punished for it, and without further ado he was struck as if by lightning, and he was turned into a great yellow rock. And the minute he became rock, the rock crumbled, and the crumbling turned into lots of tiny little yellow stones that just lie there. And they're there, so I've been told, even to this day. Thank you for listening again and watching, and I will be back tomorrow with one last story. Have a good evening. Bye bye now.